41st hour of Adventurers Wanted Rebellion. My name is Leo. I'm going to be your games master this morning. This is a relaxed performance, which means that we have a relaxed attitude to sound and movement from the audience for the benefit of people who would struggle to stay still or silent for an entire hour. The lights are going to stay exactly like this, and there should be no loud noises unless I forget myself, but there will be some mood music throughout. If you do feel like it's all getting a bit much and you'd like a break, feel free to duck out of the door that you came in and rejoin us when you're ready. If you do need anything, Naomi, over your right shoulders there, is our stage manager. Please do catch her eye, and we'll try and help you as best we can. We're also joined this morning, and for the first hour every morning, by our wonderful BSL interpreter, Tommy. Yay! Who continues to astound by signing somehow improvised fantasy, and look out for some of the more amusing signs he's had to come up with to explain what we're doing. So, what is this? What on earth is going on? This is a tabletop role-playing game, which means the four people on my left and right here play individual, unique characters in a fantasy setting. And as the game master, I control the fantasy setting. So the weather, the cave-ins that are triggered, and the magical forests that they'll be delving into. And to try and keep things... Oh, I've got this, haven't I? To try and keep things a modicum of fair, we interact with each other using dice. The most common die you'll hear referred to is the D20, or 20-sided die here, an icosahedron. Show off, yeah. The 20, generally higher numbers are better, lower numbers are bad. If you hear someone rolling a natural 1, that means they've failed hilariously at what they were doing, no matter how easy it should have been. And a natural 20 is always a success, so you'll see them celebrating and commiserating those. The story so far is our four characters are part of a rebellion that for the last 5 years has been enslaved by an imperial cult and made to mine a mysterious ore from the ground. Recently, however, the rebellion's leadership has disappeared. Their elder god that they were following, some of you may have heard of him, that they were following, and disappeared, leaving a power vacuum into which the rebellion decided to rise. They threw off their local oppressors, united the region that they're in, marched on the capital, chucked the cult out, and have been struggling with the fact that the ore seems to be a recurring problem ever since. In the very last adventure where we left them, one of the sorcerers that they had counted as one of their allies had actually secreted himself away in the ore mine and was performing some pretty strange experiments, that led to some pretty horrible results. We'll jump straight back into the aftermath of the cave-in he's trapped in just a second, but first let's meet our players and their characters. Whew, that was a lot. So, starting with yourself, Bex, tell us your name, your character's name, their pronouns, and tell us a little bit about them, where they're at the moment.
Hi there, my name is Bex. I use she, her pronouns. My character's name is Thatchy Moon. They are an Orc Ranger. They use they, them pronouns. Thatchy's had a bit of a day, really, over the last couple of days. Has been relied on quite heavily to do some activities, and they are not far from death's door currently, and not feeling super optimistic.
So, Tom?
Hello, my name is Tom. I use he, him pronouns. My character is Evin, and she uses she, her pronouns. She's an Aasimar paladin. A paladin is effectively somebody who primarily looks after others, and an Aasimar is a sort of a low-level angel. And Evin doesn't appear, as far as she can remember, to have existed for very long. She's been created and placed onto this plane of existence by her god, Corellon, having been sent to purify those who've been corrupted by this ore. But every corner she turns, she finds more people in that kind of state of affairs and is realising she may be here for rather longer than she thought.
And our ticketed players, Vic.
Hello, I'm Vic. I use she, her pronouns. I am playing Fidget, which is F-I-apostrophe-G-E-T. Who also uses she, her pronouns. She is technically a wood elf, but was raised from a very young age by a tribe of grungs, which are colourful, chaotic, frog-like creatures that are very small, and as such, she has styled herself to look somewhat grung-like with lots of colours and ribbons and face paint and things. Yeah, and she's not really there yet.
No, we'll come to you. I'm enjoying frog-like, Tommy. That was good. There we go. And Richard.
Yeah, so I am Richard. I use he, him. I am playing Sandor Blackmoor, who is a human sorcerer. He comes from a family with a long wizardly magical tradition and has been something of a black sheep by being the sorcerer type, and has been initially fascinated by the appearance of this mysterious ore, and is getting steadily more and more creeped out about it the more he hears.
Yeah, appropriate.
So your first name, please. Sorry.
Sandor?
Sandor, yes.
As George R.R. Martin Sandor, Sandor? Or?
Yep, sure.
Yep. And just to confirm, they're he, him as well.
He, him as well.
Fantastic. Yep. Okay. So, what has just happened is the village of Holmwood, where the players all come from, has been somewhat overrun by zombie-like creatures that are the result of the experiment that Alf has been doing. He's been strapping pieces of the ore to various humans, elves, dwarves, and they've been transforming into these monstrous creatures. This has caused something of an upset in the town, and luckily the players in the last few hours have managed to solve that issue, but the town remains in disarray. They then chased Alf through the mines and found him doing some kind of ritual they don't quite understand yet. There was some weirdness with time, and they decided just to let's call the whole thing off, and a rock fall started, shutting Alf in the mine, presumably killing him. And where we immediately pick up is maybe an hour or so after that. What has Thatchy and Evan been doing in the town?
Resting, I imagine.
Resting, yeah.
Yeah, we both helped each other out of the mine. In
Yeah,
two quite
I
distinct
stopped
phases.
you from dying, and then you stopped me from dying. So
Yeah.
I think we're a lot
We're cool.
closer now.
Yeah.
Good friends.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there would be a bit of resting, a bit of seeking out some clerics to heal us up before going and finding the sort of superiors, effectively, of the rebellion to let them know what has transpired in this instance.
Yes. We both got very badly beaten up.
Yeah, like really bad.
More than cuts and bruises. I was unconscious for some time. That level of
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah. So yeah, we've probably gone off to find some help and then catch everyone up.
Sandor, would you like to establish exactly where you are at this moment?
So I think there was a bunch of trouble with the town hall recently, wasn't there?
There was indeed.
Terrible things going on there.
Yeah.
So in the town square there are in fact walking wounded all around. There's some of the clerics are trying to heal various wounds that they can that were caused from the fallout, and the town hall, which has only just been rebuilt, is somewhat damaged again as well.
So Sandor has edged closer and is doing his best, from not being particularly talented, to help out with the walking and wounded, while taking the opportunity to somewhat nervously look in the direction of the remains of the town hall.
Cool. Can I get a medicine check from Sandor for that?
Sure. Be a 17 apparently.
17, yeah, okay. Well, you're aware of your limitations, but you offer your aid to the clerics nearby, and you follow their instructions to the letter. And as such, you are actually really helpful in patching up some of the walking wounded. Fidget.
It's just Fidget.
Fidget? No, you don't want me to pronounce the apostrophe?
You don't need. It's a grung thing.
Okay. Fidget. You have come into town just now on a wagon with a particular elf that you know very well called Kahim, which none of these players had met, but some of the others
I'll
had.
make a note of their name.
Well, there you are. It's in the index, Cehirm.
Okay, sorry.
You see what looks to you as devastation. Not only have you never actually seen a proper town before, but you've never seen a town in ruins. And there's smoke rising from the town hall concerns you deeply. Fire is not good where you come from. You can see a sort of situation of chaos where there seem to be people who've been hurt all around. It reminds you of the last time there was a wildfire in the Oak and Bramble, where you come from.
I just turned to him. Is it meant to look like that?
No, it's not. It's usually a lot more peaceful. Perhaps we should help. The venerated elf druid hops himself down off of his yellow and red filigree caravan that rolls into town and wanders over to people, starting to help. A blonde chap, youngish, comes up to you, notes him and goes, but sees that he's busy, turns to you and goes, "What are you doing here? Who are you?"
I'm Fidget.
I'm Simon.
Hi. Does your have an apostrophe in too?
Sorry?
My name has an apostrophe.
No, I don't have an apostrophe in my name, no.
Okay, that's fine.
It's... humans don't... it's fine.
Okay,
We've met Kehim before, I've not seen you. Is there trouble in Oak and Bramble? Roll a history check. No, that's fine. Roll a history check.
history. 12.
12. Yes and no. There's a lot less trouble than before, but the forest spirits that have been appeased previously have started to act strangely.
Trouble's like a relative thing in Oak and Bramble. It's better, but also the spirits are still annoyed.
I see. Well, if you've come here for help, then we'll do what we can. But you can see we need it ourselves at the moment.
Well, I brought you a druid. Well, they kind of brought themselves. They kind of brought me.
That's all right. Anything you can do would be helpful. I'm just trying to find my brother in all of this.
I assume we are relatively nearby, being able to conveniently hear this conversation as it's going on.
Sure.
That she will approach Simon, having not met them before.
You definitely know who he is,
yeah,
though.
I know who they are.
Simon, for the Bex, for the sake of the audience, has become the de facto leader of the rebellion through a rather oligarchical election. Was just sort of appointed mayor of the town immediately after the rebellion.
Simon and Thatchy will take sort of quite a curt bow.
Don't do that.
We have, my companions and I have just returned from the mine.
And?
Have you been alerted of the town hall situation?
Well, yeah, it's right there. I came out to see what I could do. I've just ridden in from Goldcrest, which is, of course, where I was.
Where we followed your brother into the mine.
Alf, what was he doing in the mine?
Very bad things indeed.
I think his work with the ore had corrupted him.
God.
If I'm sorry to tell you that I did not make it out, but I feel it is important for you to know that in the end, without his help, none of us would be alive. And for the end, he did return back to the light of the rebellion.
Make a charisma check for bedside manner.
Can I
That
help?
is not something I am good.
Can I help?
By looking
I'm-
angelically by.
How are you assisting in this?
Well, I was going to join in with saying it, but instead I'm just going to, I'm just sort of going to nod, and as you said there, picking up from that, yes, he spent his final moments giving us another chance. Is what I was going to say.
Okay.
16.
16.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not too bad. That could have been a lot
Well, I
worse.
have +0 on charisma, so...
Right, well, thank you for telling me. I need to go and process this. For now, could you ask him why he's in town? Because I can't. And he walks away. Off towards the the small garden. Bless you. Off towards the small garden that Barksby has been creating just outside of the city walls. Elassie, the headstrong elf ranger, walks up to you, seeing that you're an elf, and goes, "I've not seen you before. You were rode into town with my father." "Good. Well, you're a strange one, aren't you?"
Yes, I'm a grung.
"You're a grung?
Yes.
You look like an elf."
That's a common misconception.
Okay, my mistake. You're a grung. Fine. Right. So,
What are you doing here? Because I feel like I got told, but I forget quite a lot of things.
me, I'm meant to be in charge of the Rangers or the Scouts or something. I don't know. There was a big debate about it. Frankly, I'm a little bit worried about using this ore for anything after this debacle. I can't believe we didn't see this coming.
That debacle being the smoke
Yes.
and the dead people.
And the dead people.
Fachi will approach. The ore is very dangerous.
But it's such a good weapon, that's the problem.
Yes, and also, I believe, was used to seek forth someone. We were in the mine. There was an egg of sorts.
Be edging closer to just eavesdrop.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some sort of egg, and Alf, well corrupted, was pouring magic to the egg when
He was trying to make some sort of portal. Something was coming through it. It was not, I think, for him to go the other way. If you understand, I think he was summoning something.
Would you say it looked at all eldritch?
Should I roll that?
Make
Tom would.
make a religion
Peering
check.
around the side of the door.
Oh yes, very eldritch.
Yeah. Yes. Extremely.
Oh.
Yeah.
Seeing this sort of group finally assembled and all together in the same place, and seeing his daughter, Kehim wanders over. Right, well, you have all seemed to have got yourself in a debacle, but early days yet. We've only been free for, nearly 2 weeks? 10 or 11 days?
Feels longer.
it really feels longer.
I have come to town to ask for your help. If the three of you are not busy helping here, then we'd really appreciate you coming back to the Oaken Bramble with us. And yourself, my daughter. Something is strange with the Chewingas.
The what now?
The forest's spirits that are the guardians of the elves and the guardians of the forest in general. The reason I come to you is that you were so helpful a few days back in helping us appease them, and they seem to take a liking to you lot. I am a venerated druid in my community, but I do not pretend to know the motivations of the Chewingas.
They're kind of mean.
They can be.
I have dealt with mean things.
Is that a yes, then?
Yes.
It would be a nice break from the mine.
At this point, can I get a perception check, please?
Can I just double check? Has Evan and myself managed to heal any hit points in the last hour or so?
Don't worry. I'll get to that.
Thanks. 18 from me.
18?
11.
11?
17.
17?
15.
15. So, those of you 15 and above notice a sort of a strange ripple. For a second, it seems that the town is much bigger and much more built up than it was. It also, the sky flashes from the sort of tinged pink that you've become accustomed to a crystal blue, and then back again. And that's kind of what brings your attention to the flicker in the first place. It happens in a split second. And then, when you come back to yourselves, you notice Rosatris, the mysterious elf wizard, standing there next to her husband. Yes, those of you who have been involved in Omen will recognise the name.
Wait a minute.
Recurring character from our London games. So she's this tall, sort of hooded elf wizard with a staff who appears with an arm on Kehim's shoulder, immediately showing some sort of connection to him. And goes, "These are strange times indeed." Oh, sorry, I did not mean to startle you.
It's fine.
I feel like I shall come with you as well. That's only fair, considering.
Considering what?
The
What did we do
energies.
to help these folk out? Spirits? Something?
Roll.
Sorry.
No, that's alright. Roll a history check. Because the audience need to know as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Nope.
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 You
Not
seem
clue.
to you remember something about the forest being sort of the land has been poisoned generally by this eldritch energy that has been going on, and you managed to travel into Oakham Bramble and cure it of that poisoning. That's basically what you know. You don't know any details. You weren't there.
Environmental cleanup.
Environmental cleanup, sure.
Purification.
Indeed.
You would.
So, unless there's anything that the four of you want to do in town before we get going, and just so you two are aware, Bex and Tom, I'm going to let the wagon trip into the forest be a long rest. So you can get all your stuff back.
I no longer have 4 hit points.
We can move on.
Yeah, no,
Fidget?
I'm good.
Yes.
No, we're good. Sandor? Anything you particularly need to finish in town before we leave?
I don't like this town very much. I'm quite keen to go back to the forest.
That's fair play.
I want to Thatchy would like to make sure that the message about the egg and Alf and all the kind of stuff that we've seen, we're not just like telling a lassie and then all of us leaving without telling anyone who's actually like staying there. So just to make sure that the message is being passed on about what we saw and what happened in the mine.
Okay, fantastic.
Probably, I think.
Who would you
Thatchy-
like to pass that on to
I think
specifically?
Thatchy would tell Kesh.
Kesh,
Yeah,
right,
well,
okay, cool.
Thatchy
and
Kesh know each other. I feel like that would be a good.
So Kesh is an orc who I feel like there's a lot of exposition, guys. I'm really sorry.
Sorry.
We're usually a bit slicker than this. Kesh is an orc who defected from a local war band and has joined the rebellion. Thatchy was part of her defection, so she tells Kesh. That makes perfect sense.
Great.
Okay.
I'm going to get like a tent or whatever one uses in forests.
A what?
I'm going to get a tent or whatever
Yeah,
one uses in forests, pretty much of that.
Well, I think the implication is you'll be going in the caravan, but that's fine.
Yeah, but...
Just a
Okay,
bit of privacy in case.
that's
you
fine.
want it.
Sandor's a private person, I understand.
general wilderness supply type stuff, because this whole, we're going to go on a short adventure, it'll be fine, I'm like... Sure.
Okay, so I'll say that you have enough for sort of an explorer's pack worth of stuff with you. Since you specified preparing that. Right. As you all hop onto the caravan and Evan and Thatchy begin sort of healing their wounds and getting a nap in, Ilassi turns to Rosatris and goes, "Things are much better, Mother, but we still haven't managed to track down that Mezoth character. She said she wanted revenge, and she seemed like a person of her word."
Was that Mezoth?
Mezoth, Mesoth, who you know is the leader of the cult.
Never good.
Never good. I just feel like the ore could be better used as a weapon. If only we could sort of negate some of the ill effects, then it would be perfect, right?
Is this the strange eldritch ore that mutates people into inhuman monstrosities?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, if we could take away the eldritch monstrosity bit, it's very explosive.
Yeah, it's just the whole eldritch monstrosities and strange horrors from outside of wherever that It seems like it would be a disincentive, really.
Roll a persuasion check.
21.
21. She catches you. You know, she throws you a glance of disdain and goes, "Who are you again?"
Sandor Blackmore, sorcerer. Family history of totally well-advised magical experimentation.
Oh, I suppose I should be listening to the sorcerers on this front.
It is best to leave the ore for now. It has already hurt many.
It's like saying fire would be great for warming things up if we could just stop it burning everything down.
Do you have leopards on this plane of
wise.
existence?
Very wise. I am very impressed.
Leopards?
Yes. Do they? I am not familiar with
Says Kay.
exactly where I am in this moment. But do you have leopards? Have you come across leopards?
I imagine we probably have leopards somewhere, but they're not native to.
Do the leopards on this plane?
We have sort of pumas and panthers and cheetahs.
Do any of them have spots?
Yes.
Have any of them ever changed those spots?
Oh, I see what you're doing.
Some grunts have spots.
I am very clever.
I'll be able to roll intelligence to see if I understand what's happening.
Yeah. Okay.
Huge DC.
Yeah. No. It seems like the Azimar and Kahim have just sort of exchanged a moment. You don't really know what happened.
I'm gonna
I agree with
go
our
back
sorcerer.
to sleep.
It is too dangerous.
Is there anything anyone would like to conversate with Rusatris Alasi or Kahim about as the caravan rolls back towards the Oaken Bramble over the next 6 or 7 hours?
So what specifically has been going weird with the spirits? Have they been like making weird wailing noises or looking strange? Or...
No, they've seemed much happier and much more active than they were when you last came to Oaken Bramble. But they're doing something odd. They're piling rocks up against one of the spirit trees, and I don't... It's best you see for yourself.
I mean, I've piled quite a lot of rocks in my time. I don't think it's that weird.
Yes, but... This is Fidget. She doesn't... She's new. She's well, you are.
I mean, I'm just... Are we sure about bringing these people who seem quite explosively near a place which we don't want to be exploded?
I go whole days without exploding things.
These people have been incredibly helpful to us, Fidget, in the past. I understand you have your reservations, but I'm sure once you see them working, you'll see. I was iffy about them as well. It was Rusatris who brought them in initially.
I don't like her either.
And Rusatris just goes,
But I don't.
thank you. Well, at least you're honest.
What kind of terrain are we heading into now? Is it
So, ahead of you, you can see a forest. It just starts. It's like there's field, and then, if you, Naomi, could you cue up the more sort of mysterious exploring music? Thank you.
Well, it's much better than the everyone's going to die music.
Yeah, I feel like this has been relaxing us into a sort of stupor. So you've got fields and then suddenly forest. If any of you have seen Lord of the Rings, it's sort of a bit like the edge of Fangorn forest in that, where just the trees start, and then from there it's thick. It's almost like a thicket. It seems to have earned its name, Oaken Bramble. But you remember that before, there was a sort of evil do not enter vibe to the place, and there was actually not even any paths. As the caravan approaches the edge of the forest, the trees in fact bend themselves, bark creaking, and create a path just wide enough for the caravan to move through, and it opens up ahead.
I always thought forests were a lot more untidy than this. I like this place.
We keep it good. We keep it organised. Or we try to. As the caravan enters the forest, you get you lose track of the sky. The canopy is so thick, and it seems like sound itself is muffled in here. Can I get perception checks from everyone, please?
Sure.
Oh, good.
That is good. Non-natural 20.
Modified 20?
22.
22?
Modified 3.
Okay.
13, but I feel better about it now.
What are Evan and Sandor doing that means they don't see what's about to happen?
Are we getting off the caravan, or are we still on the caravan?
We're still on the caravan.
I guess I'm still getting... Maybe I'm putting my helmet back on in this exact moment.
Okay.
Oh, no.
We're some rangers. We're keeping
yeah.
I'm peering around, checking out the forest floor to see if this is also tidy.
Yeah, it is.
Directly down there.
It's very impressive. The moss itself seems to move and writhe to create the path that you're moving along.
It's both convenient and still a little bit creepy.
Oh yeah, it's definitely creepy. Speaking of definitely creepy,
Oh, great.
what Fidget and Thatchy see is out of the corner of your eye, you see sort of a line of white blobs moving through the undergrowth on the floor level. These blobs appear to be desiccated pine cones. So they're like pine cones, but white and withered, a little bit like a pine cone that's been in a fire. But the desiccation is sort of bent and moved so that they look like they have faces. You would know these as the Chwingas. To Thatchy, these are obviously forest spirits. And each of them is carrying a rock along with them. Had neither of you got over 20, you wouldn't be able to see this, but that rock, those rocks, are actually pieces of the ore.
Of course they are.
And they're carrying the ore through the forest, making this strange clicking noise as they move their heads and cock them side to side as they go through the forest in a line, very uniform. It almost looks like they're marching. Kahim doesn't seem to have noticed this, but he's travelling parallel to the line anyway.
Hi guys.
The Chwinga turns and go, one or two of them go.
I think.
And in fact, out of nowhere, one just sort of falls from the canopy into your lap and sort of goes.
I stroke it.
Sure. The pine cone, while from afar it looked desiccated and sort of rough, it's actually slightly furred. So there's a fuzz to it as you stroke it up close.
Can I ask you a question? Okay. What's with the piles of stones? Do I understand these creatures?
You can probably communicate with them sort of on a level of emotions, but not on the level of intellectual sort of concepts.
Do they speak any kind of recognisable language of any type?
Roll a nature check, and yourself, please.
Nature.
6. No, you just get the impression that they're concerned.
Cool.
18?
18. The clicks, while initially sort of off-putting, do appear to be, and we'll say that you've noticed this one that's fallen into Thatchy's lap, although you still haven't, Evan. You put your helmet on the wrong way. Yeah. The clicks do seem to have a pattern to them, and they do seem to be a language, but you've never encountered it before.
It's not like any of the elemental tongues or something.
No.
Okay.
And can I see the ore up close? Is the one I've got in my lap holding the ore?
No, it wasn't.
Okay. I'm just gonna go to stroke it.
Okay.
I think I'm probably going to go to, is it...
Kahim?
Kahim?
Yep.
I'm going to go to Kahim and sort of, I'm assuming he's driving caravan, so I'm going to go tap him on the shoulder.
Yes.
There are some of these creatures, the spirits, just by us. The rocks they are carrying, this is more troubling than we first thought.
Kahim sort of glances over, eyes back on the road. He smiles and goes, I knew you people would be the right ones to ask. Well spotted. Not everyone can see the spirits.
I'm going to scratch the one in her lap if it lets me.
What spirits?
Roll a charisma check.
Oh, your charisma.
I mean, your charisma's quite high.
Terrible.
But...
Natural 20.
Alright, there we go. There's our first one. Sure, it allows you to scritch it.
Yeah.
Let me show you exactly what they're doing with those rocks.
Right.
The path opens out into a clearing, and there is a large tree in the middle of this clearing, a huge oak. And you can see that the spirits have sort of gathered around the base of this oak, and there is a small crack in the bottom of it, much like you would see like what a squirrel lives in or something like that. But the forest spirits are carrying the ore into this crack and then coming back out and going back down for more. And it seems to be a whole sort of chain where they're bringing the ore into the oak. Can I get a nature check from you? And also definitely from Fidget.
Non-natural 20.
Modified
Same,
20?
actually.
Modified 20, cool. The oak looks sick. It looks ill. The bark is twisted and dark, moving away from the actual solid trunk of the tree, and it almost looks cleaved apart at places. The branches are sagging, the leaves are sort of dull and almost grey, and they look almost about to fall off. You've seen dying plants before, both of you, and this oak is dying.
I will look at the triangle in my hand and just go, did you do this?
It looks up at you. It refuses to answer. And it hops out of your hands.
No, I want to grab it back and
Oh, okay.
no.
Roll a dexterity saving throw.
That's a natural one.
Natural one. I rolled a natural 18. I don't have the Chewinga's stats up, but I'm pretty sure it beats you. You go to snatch at it, and it hops.
17.
You go to snatch at it, and it hops out of your hand and runs across the floor to join the queue of ore-bearing Chewingas coming to and fro from the tree. Kahim sort of regards the scene, puts the reins of the caravan down and goes, "This is what I have brought you to investigate."
I help Evan put her helmet on the right way so she can see.
What was all that clicking noise?
I had a came to
What
say.
are those?
Chewinga.
I've missed a lot with this helmet business.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure we don't want them doing that. It looks really bad.
Are they healing it or are they killing it?
The spirits would not do something that would harm the forest, I'm sure. But I don't know.
I mean, that one that just hopped away from me looked pretty guilty.
The ore has corrupted many.
We've seen people do things against their nature, I understand.
They might just be misled and misunderstanding.
Right, well, it is your
Look at it. Look at the tree.
Oh, no, I mean the spirits might be misunderstanding it. Like they might think they're helping and not realise that it's doing a bad thing.
Well, your expertise in this area is the exact reason why I decided to bring you in. Have you got any ideas?
How big is that gap at the bottom? Is it?
It's not big. It's
Okay.
maybe a foot tall.
But
And you
reach
can...
an arm in or something like that.
Yeah, you could reach an arm in. And in fact, each of the Chewingas is about a foot tall as well. Can I get a perception check from just yourself?
Sure. Yeah, 12.
12. You can see that the tree is beginning to, like, as you look into the crack specifically, hopping off of the caravan and bending over to try and get a better look, you can see that the crack itself is actually beginning to fill up. It's almost like they've stuffed this tree with the ore, the rocks that contain veins of the ore.
Can I grab a twig or something? Like break a off the tree.
Yeah.
And I want to use my knife and just kind of cut it open and try and see what colour the wood is on the inside.
Interesting. Okay, roll a nature check. Just to see if you can pick a branch that
Fine.
has sap. So you snap a branch off, and the first one that you snap off is just dead in your hand. If you continue to try and investigate, I'm just going to say you can just...
Yeah, I'm just going to try and get one and try and get one.
Yeah, I'll assist as well to try and reach a bigger one or something like that.
Roll with advantage then. As the two of you try and do some botany.
I rolled a 9, 6, so that's a 10 or...
A 10? Yeah, well that's fine, because you know these trees, you're part of this forest yourself, Fidget. And you cut the branch. The sap, which you would normally expect to be a sort of oaken, greeny amber, sort of this viscous material, actually has a tinge of violet to it, which is incredibly unusual.
I will point to this person who seems to know about trees, like I do, and I like that.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, the orc, they seem incredibly knowledgeable.
Well, actually, I have forest is my favourite terrain, so I would one of my favourite terrains. It's forests and mountains, so I would probably have some kind of insight on what is happening. Not really what's happening, but just
You feel comfortable in this environment.
Yeah, basically. What I'd like to do, ideally, unless anyone has any better ideas, is wait until the spirits have kind of put all their rocks in and are wandering off, and then I'm going to try and reach in and remove one of the bits of ore when there's only a few spirits around, so it may not be too dreadful for that to, if they decide to get angry, if I don't want 100 of them there, just an opportune moment for that.
I mean, the spirits are intelligent. You could try chatting to them.
I am not intelligent, though. So,
I mean, you're sentient. Don't do yourself a disservice.
That's true. I can read.
It's not that low.
No, I know. I just chose to make it worse.
Your intelligence is quite high.
Yeah, no, I'm not using that stat.
Okay, fine.
I'll watch that you look at them going, should we tell them those things are bad, maybe?
Wasatris chips in. We could always do a communing ritual, darling. Looking over at Kahim. Kahim looks a little bit uncomfortable.
Do they need a room for that?
There it is, our first sex joke of the day.
I just thought they might need
We got so far, Richard.
Private mystical space.
It doesn't normally get past 11. This is quite impressive.
Yeah. Kahim looks uncomfortable, goes, no, it's nothing to do with privacy. I'm just a little bit out of practice. I have been concentrating on other magics recently. I guess I could try.
what are you going to commune with?
The Chewinga.
You can just say hi to them.
Yes, but we can't understand them in this form. Well, if you feel like you can communicate with them, go ahead. Ask them what they're doing.
Okay, guys, don't really look bad here. What's going on with the tree?
I'm
Roll.
gonna lean down next to her and kind of mime as she goes along with
Okay, first of all, sorry, I was just enjoyed Tommy's glance at you there. Can I get an intelligence check to see whether you're actually helping or hindering?
I'm not super good at this. 3.
3. Cool. So that's raised the DC, as basically you're trying to commune with your forest spirits, but the human has just crouched down beside you and is doing weird hand gestures.
I'm helping.
Ignore him, he's new.
Can I get an intelligence check from you as one of the two of the Chewingas turn around and try and listen to your question?
This is not charisma. That's a 12.
12 total?
Yeah.
They're doing some sort of... It almost looks like a play. They're trying to act out what's going on. The first Chewinga holds up a stone, and then the second Chewinga takes the stone from them, has a leaf, puts the leaf in front of the stone, and then drops the stone, and then removes the leaf, and that's it. That's your play.
I think they're worried it's going to rain tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you get.
Yeah.
Kahim turns to you and goes, well, Fidget, what did you get?
There's definitely something about stones
Yes, well, we can see that.
and maybe a tree.
That tree, yes.
That would make sense.
Do you think?
Does the tree have a special kind of spiritual significance?
Yes, there are several of these trees around the forest.
Is it
Do
just
they-
happening here?
I don't know.
Might they think the trees can somehow fix bad things that are going on?
Perhaps.
Because it seemed like they thought the tree was going to make the stone go away.
The trees have been known to be... I said before that the spirits are guardians of the forest. Really, they're the guardians of the trees, and the trees are the ones that the heart of the forest is linked to. Perhaps we should cast this ritual. How many of you will be involved?
Sure. I'm always up for rituals.
No one talking to a tree without me.
I am experienced in ritual, I think.
Well, Asma, let us join hands. Can I get perception checks from everyone? I realise we're all joined hands, but just imagine we're still joining hands.
No.
Natural 20.
Natural 20.
I like
It's
this
not
dice.
even worth talking about it.
Modified 20.
Modified 20?
25.
25. Fantastic.
I'm just really enjoying the, like, any human contact. I'm like,
Aw.
oh, this is really nice.
Oh, Fachi.
Yay.
I've been in a mine for a really long time, like.
There's... So Kahim starts to speak initially in Elvish, then Sandor, you notice the switch from Elvish to Primordial, and the rest of you, I presume, don't speak Primordials, but I'm just going to say, because of your natural 20, whether you speak Primordial or
I
not,
do.
you do! Well,
Yes.
there we are, you know exactly, so you can actually follow the words of the ritual, as he entreats that the forest open to them, as he entreats that the forest show us reality, as he entreats that the forest commune with our souls. Something starts to happen. The trees around the edge of the clearing begin to move. And Thatchy, all you see is sort of a ripple. It's almost like a desert heat in front of the trees, and it seems like the trees are moving, but you're pretty sure it's an illusion.
Okay.
What the rest of you see, however, is that the movement in the trees is the trees physically growing, tall and strong, and then aging and dying, and growing, tall and strong, and aging and dying, and you can see this cycle repeating itself constantly as you slip out of time and view the clearing from a different perspective. And the tree's movement is actually the circle of life that you're regarding from above. And the Chewingas are still in front of you, staring and looking on. Can I get a Constitution saving throw from everybody, please?
Good.
You all have +3 because I'm a paladin.
Great.
Okay, so everyone
Doesn't
add
help with a
3.
natural 1.
Natural 1?
Afraid it doesn't help.
I got an overall total of 8.
8.
A sweet 10.
Sweet 10.
Weak. 23.
20.
I got a 9 on my natural 1.
Can everybody roll 3d10 for me?
What?
Apart from Fidget.
Are we giving you the total?
Yes, please.
Get some more dice out.
And I'm going to note the total.
That's either good or bad.
Ooh, I rolled really high on those ones. That's good.
That's not good. What did you get, Thatchy?
I'm not that quick at that.
That's okay. In the meantime,
21.
21.
That is quite high.
No.
25.
Ooh, not that high, it's fine.
I got 14.
I never use my D10.
Fidget, as you watch on and you watch your companions, you and the other elves seem untouched, as does the Aasimar. They appear untouched. But Sandor, how old were you?
So 25 or thereabouts.
Sandor's beard begins to grow flecks of grey, and the hair begins to grow much longer down behind its back. Thatchy, how old were they?
I think that she was probably about 30-ish, maybe?
30-ish.
I don't know the full lifespan of orcs. Middle-age-ish.
Orcs do not live quite as long as humans.
Great.
Orcs tend to top out at 60 or 70.
All right, 15 then. I don't know.
But if you were middle-aged
Yeah,
for an
yeah.
orc, I would say probably early 30s, late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
You watch as Thatchy's tusks grow long and start to become discoloured and twisted. You watch as her vivacious green skin turns a pallor of grey, and you watch her hair grow long and grey down her back. And as you look on, you're uncertain whether your companions can withstand this ritual. They seem to be aging in front of your very eyes. And that is unfortunately where we're going to have to leave this hour of Adventurers Wanted.
That is not how I wanted to die.
So thank you very much for
ripe old age.
Yeah, heroes dying of old age. Jesus.
Thank you very much for coming, everybody. If you did enjoy the show, please do spread the word about it. Like I said at the top, that was our 41st hour, which means we have 58 hours to go, 59 hours to go. So there's plenty of plot left to go. If you do want to find out what happens, feel free to nip back in, buy your tickets at the box office. And of course, Richard and Vic here have bought player tickets, which is why they're up on stage with us. So please inquire about those, especially if you're available midweek. However, if you can't come back, we have been tweeting everything at Adventurers250, so you can follow along almost like a novel. And we're live streaming out on Twitch at the moment, twitch.tv/Adventurers Wanted. Hello, Twitch stream. Everywhere else, Facebook, Instagram, we're Adventurers Wanted. And if you really enjoyed what we do here, we've got a Patreon as well. We have monthly London shows, as well as free play events that tries to bring the hobby Dungeons & Dragons to a wider, more inclusive audience, to try and show people how awesome it is and all the different ways it can help people. Before we go, I would like to just quickly throw over to our players to see if there's anything they would like to plug. If you haven't got direct involvement with something maybe you want to recommend. Tom?
Hello. Do you like alternate history? If you like Dungeons & Dragons, you might also be interested in alternate history. So what if history, it's often called. Questions like what if Hitler won the war? What if Britain had voted to remain in 2016? And just about everything in between. I run a publishing company called Sea Lion Press. You can find us on Google and Amazon and various other monoliths that control our lives. And we publish about 70 books, many available in paperback form, all of them available as ebooks. And yes, if you're a bit of a geek and you like coming to see D&D at the Fringe, you may also like alternate history. So give us a look. Thank you.
Bex?
I am an Edinburgh native, so I always give a shout out to any Scottish performers and Scotland-based artists during the festival who are, still doing their thing the rest of the year, but also get to do it at the festival as well. It's really fun. For this hour, I'm going to shout out to the Loud Poets, who are doing a poetry game show this year, which is actually really fantastic, really fun. And that's at the Scottish Storytelling Centre daily at 9:30.
Vic?
When I am not pretending to be a grung, I work for a documentary company, and we have a documentary that's currently on iPlayer for the next couple of weeks, I think, called Japan's Secret Shame, which is about the rape crisis in Japan and about how it is completely unacknowledged, and it's a very good documentary, and you should watch it.
Cool.
Richard?
I don't have anything particular to plug, but since I'm wearing the t-shirt, I'll recommend the Welcome to Night Vale. It's got a world tour is in Edinburgh this month as part of the Fringe.
It is.
Anyone can go and see it. It's awesome.
That is very exciting.
I know.
Sorry.
I know. The tickets are like nearly £40. Otherwise, I would have insta-buyed one,
Okay.
as they say on the internet. Right. Well, thank you very much. All that remains for me to do is to thank our fantastic BSL interpreter.
Woo!
Well done, Tommy. And to thank our players as well. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Leo.
And we hope to see you again. Thank you very much.